Everything that is happening now has already happened 42,000 years ago and ended with a mass extinction event. The drop in the power of the Earth's geomagnetic field 42,000 years ago, in combination with the great solar minimum, caused significant changes in the concentration and circulation of atmospheric ozone, provoking synchronous global climatic shifts that cause serious ecological changes and mass extinction of species. New research published in the journal Science suggests that warm interglacial conditions, surface temperatures within 1 centigrade of today, persisted from 54 to 42,000 years ago, although CO2 levels were around 200 parts per million at the time, ppm. According to the reconstruction of the paleoclimate for 20,000 years between 55 and 35,000 years ago, the CO2 concentration fluctuated around 200 parts per million. However, it is at this stage that a new study by 33 authors suggests abrupt and dramatic changes in the Earth's magnetic field. For example, a tenfold decrease in the blockage of cosmic rays about 42,000 years ago brought a synchronous global climate from interglacial conditions with surface temperatures in the range of 1 to 1.5 degrees Celsius from today's 54 to 42,000 years ago to a complete glacial state. The sudden geomagnetic shift, which intensified galactic cosmic rays and cloud formation and lowered ozone levels, led to global cooling, rapid advancement of glaciers, the disappearance of water sources like lakes, a sharp drop in sea level, and the catastrophic extinction of large animals. The catastrophic consequence of global widespread cold conditions caused by the great solar minimum and significant decrease in surface temperatures led to a drop in sea level by tens of meters and disappearance of lakes and freshwater sources. In North American Laurentina, the ice sheet has moved more than 1,000 kilometers in just a few thousand years, followed by the destruction of the habitat of the megafauna, the woolly rhinoceros, the woolly mammoths, and bison, leading to their disappearance. It was previously believed that the entire interval of about 90,000 years, sandwiched between the last interglacial, 120,000 years ago, and the Holocene, 11,700 years ago, to the present, gradually and slowly plunged into galactic conditions for many millennia, and that humanity was responsible for the last glacial peak in the death of megafauna. Earlier, it was believed that humanity played an important role in the disappearance of the megafauna, but now it turned out that people have nothing to do with this at all. Habitat destruction caused by dramatic climate change 42,000 years ago led to the extinction of large mammalian species. So once again, paleoclimatic records confirm ubiquitous and synchronous global climate change occurring without any obvious effect of changes in atmospheric CO2 concentration on this process. It was previously believed that the entire interval of 90,000 years ago between the last interglacial and 120,000 years ago and the Holocene, 11,700 years ago, gradually, slowly plunged into glacial conditions for many millennia, and that humanity was responsible for the last glacial peak and the death of megafauna. Some key quotes from the article. The minima of the geomagnetic field 42,000 years ago, combined with the great solar minima, caused significant changes in the concentration and circulation of the atmospheric ozone, causing synchronous global climatic shifts that cause serious environmental changes, disappearance, and transformations in the archaeological record. Geomagnetic excursions can change latitudinal temperature gradients due to a sharp increase in cosmic radiation and a decrease in ozone concentration. And warm periods from 54 to 42,000 years ago during the last glaciation with annual temperature ranges from 1 centigrade to 1.5 centigrades from today, the weakening of the magnetic field to a level of about 28% of the current level during the reversed La Champ phase led to periglacial conditions which occurred about 42,000 years ago. Tenfold decrease in hardness of blocking cosmic rays, widespread coldness, significant decrease in surface temperature. The Laurentide ice sheet, LIS, expanded rapidly from a local minimum 42,000 years ago. The ice sheet may have expanded 1,000 kilometers by 39 to 37,000 years ago. The scale of changes in the fauna of large animals in Le Champ exceeded those that occurred during the transition from Pleistocene to Holocene. Earlier, another study published said the almost complete disappearance of the Earth's magnetic field 42,000 years ago could lead to the extinction of the Neanderthals. About 42,000 years ago, the Earth experienced a magnetic pole change, which coincided with several climactic changes and mass extinctions, concluded an international team of researchers. The research results were published in the journal Science. The climactic changes that occurred 42,000 years ago, scientists called the Adams event, and the last change of the magnetic poles, which occurred in the middle of the Ice Age about 41 to 42,000 years ago, was called the Le Champ event. Until recently, scientists were not only a mystery about the more accurate date of the change of the poles, but also how this change affected the climate and life on Earth. To learn more about this chapter from History of the Planet, climatologists were helped by a New Zealand kauri tree, a trunk of which was discovered about 2 years ago in Northland, the northernmost region of New Zealand, in sediment over 40,000 years old. And the message says, thanks to radiocarbon dating, researchers were able to track changes in the amount of radiocarbon precisely at the time of the displacement of the magnetic poles, which, together with data on the age of trees around the world, made it possible to build a climate model of that time and reconstruct the chain of environmental events. Scientists managed to find out that that period was associated with electric storms and frequent auroras. Due to the migration of the poles, the Earth's magnetic field during the Adams event decreased 0 to 6% of its current strength, which significantly weakened the Earth's protection from cosmic radiation. In addition, the Sun experienced several large solar minima at the time, which made the protective shield even thinner, and as a result, the ionized air, as noted by the researchers, practically roasted the ozone layer and launched a wave of climate change throughout the planet. The authors of the work suggest that the extinction of megafauna on mainland Australia and Tasmania 42,000 years ago was associated with the Adams event. The article suggests that it influenced the extinction of Neanderthal and the widespread distribution of rock paintings during that period. Perhaps scientists note the new environmental conditions forced the ancient people to seek refuge in the caves. The first drawings survived there and collapsed on open surfaces, giving the impression that rock art suddenly appeared 42,000 years ago. The authors of the scientific article are concerned that today the North Magnetic Pole is also shifting and the magnetic field is gradually weakening, which may indicate a repetition of the scenario of the past. According to Professor Alan Cooper of the South Australian Museum of Natural History in Adelaide, the pole shift has weakened the Earth's magnetic field, increased the impact of cosmic radiation on the planet's biosphere. This process is somewhat reminiscent of the apocalypse that we were talking about, that happened 42,000 years ago. And this is from Solask. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.